Oh, there we go. That was a really long delay. Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, June 4th, 2024. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm DrydenWire founder Ben Dryden, and you're watching The Big Show, Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Give them a call and see what they can do for you. The number's right there on the screen, 715-520-2271. Fitzy, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Pretty well. The sun is, I thought I saw something on the news this morning about or the weather, or maybe it was my weather app or something, that thunderstorms, and now all of a sudden it's really sunny out.
Yeah, it's coming. I'm sure Dirk will let us know that it's possible.
Is it coming?
It's possible it's going to rain. That's what Dirk will tell us.
That's chance. Yeah, that's a good point. Good morning, Jody, and good morning everyone that is jumping on. So I have a few press releases and articles I kind of wanted to get your take on. One was right in Barron County. The DA, Brian Wright, issues press release regarding a fatal crash that occurred in Barron County in 2023. Then I wanted your thoughts. I'm sure you saw that story over in Polk County. That was a really big story. We had talked about it in the past, and that was a jury returns verdict for Mary Bailey in the 1985 homicide of Yvonne Menke, if I'm pronouncing that right. And then, of course, there was a former Spooner officer charged with crimes against two juveniles. That's a little tougher one. I know you have a couple announcements as well. So we have a whole bunch to get to today. But as always, we start with sports. Yeah, I'm not really finding a whole lot of storylines in sports right now. There doesn't seem to be.
Well, everybody got swept, and they set this start date for all these finals, and then you can't just go. So. Last
week we were talking about the NBA, and there was the game that night, and there hasn't been a game since.
And they don't play for 2 more days, so it's not doesn't start till the 6th.
I thought it was today. Really? Oh, good. Yeah, and honestly, it's the whatever. But there was one big storyline in national sports, and that, of course, was Caitlin Clark. Do you see that?
Yeah, there is. Wait, I'm checking something. Hang on.
Sure.
No NBA or NHL today. So yes, but Caitlin Clark, yes.
Yeah, if anybody didn't see that, like she was just standing there, and another a player on the other team just goes up and just drills her and knocks her down, and she gets like a foul, and then they upgraded it to a flagrant one later on. How is that person not suspended
or ejected? I mean, you just can't. We can't let that happen. And I know she's the star, and everybody's jealous of her, but man, you just can't do that. I thought they took a lot of cheap shots there. I watched that game. Obviously, that was the Angel Reese. It probably was the highest rated free game ever. I don't know. So it was really, really neat, really fun to watch. I mean, the WNBA, that was a good game between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever. I mean, it was a great game. So come down to 1 point, but yeah, she didn't shoot well. I didn't think Caitlin shot well, but they took a lot of cheap shots at her, and I think they should be calling that. So our coach did it.
And honestly, I was a little disappointed in her Indiana teammates. Right? If someone goes and knocks you down, and I'm not advocating for brawls or fights. I mean, that's why hockey's stupid. Apparently, they just do that. Right? Yeah, just go and fight.
In the NBA, that becomes. Somebody else gets shoved down during that one, and a couple people get ejected. If that
exactly right. But her teammates needed to have stood up for her on that one. So, apparently River doesn't care about the WNBA. Well, you'll come around. We're trying to like it. Well, it's just that now I know some of the players because watching all the college stuff. So, hey, speaking of hockey, did you see the story? I don't have it up in front of me. The headline is USPHL, I have no idea what that stands for, announces relocation of the Minnesota Moose to Spooner, Wisconsin as the Northwest Express. We've talked about the Spooner Civic Center, and I think the Lumberjacks left, the reasonings for them leaving is a whole other story. But I think we're going to play some games down in Barron County. Tell me, so I don't know if this is like big or not. Is this a big deal?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's a big deal. I mean, the Spooner's not coming, or the Lumberjacks aren't coming to Rice Lake. I mean, that deal is not happening. But
right. They were. I forgot they were in discussion of maybe.
There was some discussion of them guys coming down here. I don't think they got a fair shake, but whatever. I'm not part of it. Again,
Wow.
that's way bigger than we can have time on the show. But I think any kind of junior hockey team coming to a city is good for that city. That's great for Spooner. Hats off to them for getting another team to come there and play. That's great. I mean, they have a base for that. I think we have a base for that here in Rice Lake too. We're not prepared to bring a team in at this time, so we've got some work to do. But yeah, I think that's great for hockey, for the kids that get out of high school and say, I want to keep playing, but I don't want to go to college. And obviously Jace is doing that. The draft is next week for him. So that'll be interesting. Maybe
I
he gets
was
drafted, maybe gets tendered, maybe he doesn't. And, then he's got to go find a team. He's a free agent right now. So there's a lot of work that he's doing right now to get prepared for that. But that's what this youth hockey is about. It's really fun, and hats off to Spooner for doing this. It's great for them.
So is this something that Jace could actually, if he wanted to, is this something that he could actually try to, is this the same level that he's kind of on, or is he like a high, I don't know how many levels there are.
Yeah, there's levels. I don't think this is the same level he played at last year. I think this is, some people compare him here. I would say where he played was just a tad better.
Sure.
And then he's trying to get into the next league yet above that. So
I see.
definitely he can play there. There's no question he can play there. I mean, it'd be cool. He'd probably rather go to like Alaska than Spooner, but
What? Is it because he hates Spooner so much, or he loves Alaska?
I just think it's farther away from here. Is this house, the house he lives in? Yeah. But no, I think it's great for that. How about Justin Jefferson signing yesterday too?
Yeah, holy cow, holy contract.
Yeah.
But I think he's worth every penny.
100%.
I mean, that dude is a stud.
Highest non-paid quarterback, $35 million a year, 120 million guaranteed over 4 years. So
I like that. Those numbers, they don't. I can't put that into context. Like, I don't know what that would be like.
Right.
At all.
135 million a year guaranteed, just a check. Do you get it in one check or do you get it monthly?
Yeah, I can't wait to start talking about college football and but obviously NFL is ways away, but college football, oh man, that's starting soon, right? I mean, we can start talking about it soon.
Well, end of July, right?
Well, all right, end of July.
It's a long time, but
all right. Well, we have some actual, real stuff to talk about today, other than sports. So we'll get to all of that in 15 seconds after a word from Spooner Health.
Spooner Health, compassion is at the center of everything we do. It's rooted in who we are and why we're here. It unites us as providers, neighbors, and as a community. Learn more at spoonerhealth.com.
All right, so our first one, this was from Barron. This was actually from the Barron County District Attorney's Office, and our headline was DA Brian Wright issues press release regarding a fatal crash that occurred in Barron County in 2023. For people who didn't see that, what was that about, and what were your thoughts about the outcome?
Yeah, that was our major fatality accident that happened on Memorial Day of last year. That was a triple fatality that happened. A car went through a stop sign, hit a van. That van had 9 people in it, and there was 4 people in the car. There was no alcohol involved. There was no speed involved. It was an accident. I mean, obviously there was a stop sign, and there's some people believe you got to stop at a stop sign, but there was no intent. To have a crime, you have to have intent. Not paying attention is something you got to pay attention to the area. So yeah, I met with DA Wright several times on this. He obviously he makes the decisions. I don't get a vote.
That's right.
But I'm okay with it. It's how do you wreck another person's life? I mean, there's some of the victims didn't want nothing done. So, and again, they have a say in this. Again, they don't have the say. They don't get a vote either. I mean, if the victims say I don't want them charged, and the DA of whatever county wants them charged, they get charged. It's not, but you have to have cooperating witnesses to testify to be able to go to court and win a case. So now he does get a citation for that. That citation was issued.
He was young, right? Wasn't he like 17 at the time?
Yeah. Right, and that goes into the thinking here.
That is a factor. That has to be a factor. Not obviously not justification for just saying. There's a lot of things that I would not want to be a DA. I mean, other than the fact that I would be widely unqualified for it. But man, that's a lot to carry because you have to balance a lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly what it's called, the balancing act, and you balance all of this. Do you have witnesses that will testify? Do you have the evidence? And I think we had the evidence. I mean, I think we proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt. But it's it's the factors that lead up to it. Is a jury going to convict this person of intentionally doing this, or what do you charge? And so DA Wright and his staff did a great job. And it's a tragic accident, and it sucks. But again, victims have a big say in this. Again,
they do.
Law enforcement gets a vote, but we don't. We get a say. We don't get a vote. And we were brought along through this whole case, and it was our opinions and our evidence was gone through. And like you said, I wouldn't want to be a DA. And I mean, we'd have fun for a little while. We'd just charge everybody, and everybody would go to prison for the rest of their life, and then we'd be okay. But yeah, we'd probably lose on appeal.
Yeah. Oh, right. There's the whole appellate court thing. Right. All right. So, and by the way, I've noticed this last week there was no press releases from you. Is that because it was a relatively quiet, or obviously there's always stuff going on, but doesn't meet kind of that press release standard that you kind of have? I'm sure there's not like a checkbox or anything, but.
It was Camerama on the dairy breakfast, which was huge, but we had a huge parking problem. I normally flip pancakes. I didn't even get to flip pancakes this year because of the parking.
Oh, you didn't?
issue. No, we had to park cars, and we had to change our whole parking plan at 5:30 a.m. and because the field was too wet. And so then we had to get buses, and Red Cedar Church and the Race Lake bus service saved us. And we had to park cars on roads and figure out different ways to park cars. And it was a long, drawn out process,
well,
but it all worked out. 3,400 people served breakfast too. Yeah, over from 6 a.m. to 11:30. That people just came in droves for the pancake breakfast, even with the weather. So that was awesome.
That's a lot of people.
That's a ton in a short amount of time.
Right.
And then parking, and a lot of people had to walk longer ways than normal. No one complained. It was awesome. It's just what it should be about. It's about supporting our farmers, supporting our community, and our cops got a lot of thanks, and that was nice because we made people park a long ways away and they had to walk, and we tried to help them as much as we could. But no one yelled at us, and so it was a perfect day.
That's always a good day. We have a couple more here I want to get your thoughts on, but we just had a quick question pop in from Sharon. I don't even know what this is about. Any word on the missing woman from Rice Lake?
That is not our case. That is a Rice Lake PD case. You'll have to talk to them about it. We're not involved in that. We have that's all I can say about it. I don't have any say in that case. That is not our case. That's all I can.
So there was a story that you and I talked about it when this first came up. We ran a few stories on it, and I think even Sheriff Walk had put a press release out, but now there's an update. And our headline is, Jury returns guilty verdict for Mary Bailey in 1985 homicide of Yvonne Menke. So that was that cold case. And I know Brent's focused a lot. Sheriff Walk in Polk County is focused a lot on those things. It is as in his time as the sheriff. That's pretty awesome, right? I mean, come on. I mean, what are the not just what are the odds, but I mean, solving one of those and how they found them, and it was out in Arizona and all the stuff that went into it. But that's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, Sheriff. Hats off to Sheriff Walk, and he'll give his shout out to his team. I mean, he didn't. He did it. It starts at the top when you have cases like this, and it goes down. He's got it. He's built a great team. He's got a great team. They've solved a lot of these unsolved cases.
They have.
So hats off to him and his efforts in doing this. But that's what being a cop is about. We like to solve these. We don't want to have cases unsolved. I don't care if it's a little crime or a big crime. We don't want to have, if someone tried to break into your house, we want to solve it. We want to catch these people that tried to do it, figure out why, and do what they need to do. But the big cases obviously get the headlines and the limelight and everything like that. But, but that's what it's about. This is what being a cop is all about, is solving these cases and getting justice for victims. Even, 35 years later?
85 years, I don't know.
40, almost 40 years, right? Because
yeah.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah, hats off to them. So
Good job.
awesome job by law enforcement. And again, the DH deciding to charge that case, an old case, taking the risk on charging it, losing, winning. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. We've lost some heartbreakers, in my opinion, that I think the person's guilty. We've lost, and then we've won. You take it. That's the justice system, and we've seen that across the national headlines. That's the justice system. Your jury is picked by both sides. The defense and the prosecution gets to pick the jurors, not one side. It's not all this side gets to pick, and you get 6 jurors and you get 6 jurors, and you can cross off and throw out ones. That's how the jury process works. And then you can submit the evidence, and 12 people have to agree that that's what happened. And so from the national headlines to the local headlines, as much as I don't like it sometimes and I think the jury's wrong, I got to respect the process because that's how the process works.
So you have to not put in your personal opinions or feelings about it. You have to look at, did the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt based on how they presented it? And sometimes you could literally probably be sitting there going, yeah, I'm pretty sure that other person's guilty of something, but they didn't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's what our job is. We have to look at it logically. And I've talked to a few people that have been on juries, and they have said that pretty sure, but then again, we couldn't because didn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right. And so when you get 12 people that agree to it, I mean, you're like, well, we either missed something or we did a really good job, or, and judges have a say because they can say what evidence gets omitted and what doesn't, and what you can say and what the jury can hear. So judges have a role in this. But again, they have to follow the book. There's a book of the law. I mean, it's pretty easy. You open it up and you turn it.
I think there's 6 of them, actually. 6 or 7. I'm not saying that as a joke. I think there's literally like 6 or 7 books. That's it.
6. I got them right here.
Do you really?
All the laws. Yeah, there's 6 of them.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Wisconsin statutes. I can find all the 6 Wisconsin statute books. You got to open it up. There's jury instructions on every crime. So it's a process. We have to believe in our process. It's the American way, to be honest. So whether you don't like a jury, and like I said, some days I haven't been happy with the jury either, but that's what it is. And if you can create some doubt, that's the defense's job, is to create a little bit of doubt. Yep. And that's what they do sometimes.
And some of them are really good at it.
Yeah,
as they should be. Those are the people you want to hire if you get in trouble for something.
Little doubt.
Yeah. But yeah, no, again, you're right. Sheriff Walk, they have been solving these, and it's not Sheriff Walk. If he was on here right now, he would give all the credit to his team, and rightfully so. The investigator that was really the main person behind it. But the reality is, very grateful to Brent Walk for allowing time and resources, which also includes money, to put into this, because we want to get these things solved. And there could be, hopefully not, but maybe there are some people in leadership and law enforcement it's like, no, let's reallocate our money to things that are happening now. But these things are important too. So
and you take the chance they might not solve it. You don't waste it, but you send somebody out to Arizona to do an interview, and it costs you $2,000, and they come back there and they didn't tell you anything. It's risk and reward, and that's the game that's why you put me in this position. That's why you put Sheriff Walk and Tracy and everybody in these positions, because you believe in what we're doing. And again, we're not perfect. No cop is perfect. No person is perfect. And we just do what we think we do based on the evidence and the information that we have.
Speaking of Tracy Finch, Sheriff Finch, boy, she had a rough few days there. I mean, the whole county did, and law enforcement and families. There was a shooting incident there. There was a drowning, and apparently there was a child that was one that called it in. But I can't imagine that, right? Watching somebody die, and this is a child. I mean, had to be a pretty tough few days over there. So
they've had some crashes. Polk County's had some crashes, and I'm knocking on wood right now because we had a very peaceful weekend, and we're going to go into Aquafest here this weekend and hopefully have another very peaceful weekend.
Sure. Chelsea had asked, how do you get the transcripts from that case? Like what evidence they had? So Chelsea, there would be 2 things that you're probably referring to or could find that information. If you're asking like transcripts from the court proceedings, then you would need to contact the clerk of court's office in Polk County, and they would be able to kind of guide you to finding out because there's like those, what are they called, Fitzy? The court people. They're the ones that keep all the transcripts during the trial.
Stenographers,
something like that. And it's kind of weird system how it works. Like a lot of them just don't work at one place. They kind of travel around. They are the keepers of that. But the clerk of court's office can help you out, and also call the clerk of court's office because you may just want the criminal complaint that will detail tons of it out. We did a story on it. I don't recall if we actually published the whole criminal complaint. We typically don't do that. But your contact there would be clerk of court's office, unless Fitzy, you have some other advice.
No, that's right, but that's cost money. It costs you, you know what very well.
I know very well.
Records request cost money, so. But it's 25 cents a page. I would start with the criminal.
No. But it's $1.50 a page, I think.
Oh, $1.50. Well, I think
and if I recall, that one was 70 pages, something like. I mean, it was a lot.
Oh, she's there. Good. She got the criminal complaint online. Then
she should Chelsea. If you need a job, you want to. That'd be Hey, hit me up sometime. Yeah. All right, let's move on to this. This is another one that isn't Barron County related, but I wanted your thoughts. We had a headline. This is a story last Friday. Former Spooner officer Dakota Cody Dorn charged with sex crimes against 2 juveniles. I quickly brought it up just so I didn't forget. The charges were 2 counts of Class C felony, second-degree sexual assault of a child under 16, 2 counts of Class D felony child enticement, Class I felony exposing privates, and 3 counts of misdemeanor obstructing an officer. Now, we've talked quite a bit about law enforcement and the role. I mean, after the George Floyd thing and the national, everywhere, the national, like the pulse of national media on law enforcement was not good, right? It was, no, cops are all worse. They're all corrupt. They're just terrible. When you see stuff like this, what goes through your mind when you see a cop being charged with something, allegedly doing these things? But when you see that, what goes through your mind?
Well, obviously I don't like it. And like I said, cops aren't perfect, and I have no problem going to arrest him. In fact, it's on our site. He's in our jail. We're housing him for Washburn County. It's on our records. I looked last night because I was wondering if he was here, and he is here. I see he got a $15,000 cash bond.
Yeah, we did an updated story yesterday on that. That it was $15,000, and then also kudos to Chief Kronberger. He put out, so we ran the story, I think at 7 in the morning, Friday morning, and it was around 11 o'clock. He put out a press release, which that's important to kind of detailing when that person worked, and then he was at this time when made aware, then put him on paid administrative leave, had an investigative agency do it, but of course I don't know if it's a law or not. You could tell me that. But they didn't ask the Spooner Police Department, of course, to do the investigation, or the City Council, or the Washburn County DA's office. They had another agency from another county, which that's how you should do it. But I don't know if that's how you have to do it. Do you know?
It's not how you have to do it. I would suggest doing that.
No
one wants to investigate somebody they work next to.
Yeah.
And that would suck, but you don't have to. But to make it fair and transparent, you do that to say, hey, we didn't cover it up. We didn't.
Right.
He got charged. No one's covering anything up on this.
Right.
thing.
And then when he got charged, then he was terminated. When there was actual, it's okay now. So they did everything. I wouldn't say above board. They just did. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Right. They did everything correctly. Mike did a great job in Spooner, and that's tough for a chief to have to do that. Especially when you come to a small town, a small department. It's not like New York City PD, and they have cops that do dumb things, but you don't know them. There's 30,000 cops. You don't know them. Right. There's 4 cops. You know them. You've worked with them.
Right.
You've depended on him to back you up, and then he's got some dark side to him, allegedly. And again, I don't know anything about the case. I just
and that's fine. We don't need to talk about the case. Just more of when you see stuff. This is a local one now, right? This isn't someone down in Kenosha.
Right.
This is right here in northwest Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I think the DAs up here do it right. And I watched a story last night on Twin Cities News about the trooper that's not charged now, the Minnesota trooper that was involved in a shooting. They charged him with the crime, and the Troopers Association and the Dakota, I think it's Dakota County, whatever, the prosecutor then dropped all the charges yesterday after charging the trooper for like 3 weeks, and then dropped them all because of new evidence. And his attorney.
What is this? What was he charged with? I don't know that story.
He shot and killed somebody. I believe he killed them.
Okay.
Yeah, he shot and killed somebody, and he was charged with a manslaughter and some other crime. And just because a cop used force, and I don't know anything about the case. Again, I'm just saying you don't charge somebody and then drop all the charges.
Yeah, that seems
so. And we are held to a higher standard. I agree with you 100%.
And honestly, I would say that cops want to be held to a higher standard.
Right.
Like all the law enforcement I know, the Tracy Finch, the Chris Fitzgerald, my dad, of course, my sister in the FBI, brothers of chief, all the cops that I've gotten to know, and I know well, they all understand and welcome being held to a higher standard because it's a lifestyle.
Right.
So it's not just, the community needs to hold them to a higher standard. They want to be held to a higher standard. All the good cops that I know want to be held to a higher standard.
And what I think, and again, hats off to the DA's office. Who charged that? Did Washburn County charge that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Washburn County the DA in Washburn County charges that, and
Yeah.
when we charge a case here, we're not going to be like, in 3 weeks, they're like, we should probably drop those charges, and I'm disappointed in what happened in Minnesota because you can't charge somebody with the seriousness of the crime and then drop it, all of them, boom. So it's bad. That's what's wrong with the Minneapolis.
I mean, that's a little.
So
those are significant charges. And then, why not just wait a couple of weeks before you even decide if you're going to charge or not? I mean, you can do that.
Exactly. Gather and they're like, all this new evidence. And his attorney said they've had every body camera footage from, and it's all political. And that's why people don't like to be cops over in Minneapolis. This mandatory overtime. I watched our thing on the news about mandatory overtime for them. It's tough. It's tough being a cop. And then a cop does something like this, allegedly. It's not good for us. But again, there's no cover up here. He's in the jail with all the other bad guys. He's not getting any special treatment. I'm not, people always call, well, he gets special treatment. No, he's not getting any special treatment in my jail. I guarantee that, if you do wrong, you get the same thing that everybody else gets. So,
and I think kind of going, we talked quite a bit. We had kind of some heavier shows after that George Floyd incident several years ago. And I remember our conversations, a lot of it was regarding where was I going with this? The impact that this stuff has, and then what can cops do now that the national media is saying that you're all the worst? How do you survive this? How do you fix it all? And I think it's gotten better in the last few years, or in the last year. And we didn't really see a whole bunch of negative attitude towards cops here in Northwest Wisconsin, because we've always appreciated and loved our cops here in Northwest Wisconsin. But I think a part of that has to be, when these things happen, to be transparent about it, to actually, you don't want to try to cover anything up, not suggesting that anyone would want to cover anything up anyway, but I think this stuff is actually good, because it shows the community that cops will hold other cops accountable, and the DA's office will hold cops. I'm just saying, it's Positive Tuesday. We try to find something positive. There are some positives that could come from this.
Mm-hmm. 100%, and hopefully it shows the community that we're not behind bad cops, and we don't put up with this. And Mikey didn't do that in Spooner, and the DA didn't do it, and and Sheriff Finch did the investigation, or her team did the investigation for him, and that no one said, "Oh, this is just a cop. We should, this is just some person making some allegation, and it's probably not true, so let's not look into it," or "We only looked halfway into it." This is bam, 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 bam. In today's world, there's no, I think it's very hard to cover up something, to be honest. I don't think you can with today's technology. In a small town,
you really, small communities, that's almost impossible, man.
Well, Facebook and videos and body cams and all this other stuff, and we know where our squad cars are. It's pretty hard to, And with the technology today, you can't do that. So I want to say hats off to them, but
this was regarding what you're talking about in Minnesota. That's the case of overzealous DA that wanted to get a cop.
Right, and I just can't just go with, man, we're going to charge you with every crime in the book, and then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, saying we're not going to charge you with nothing. Not even, he didn't do anything wrong. But yet, I didn't like what she said last night. She said that we're not doing any charges, but don't get me wrong, the person is a victim. I'm like, there's no victim unless there's a crime. And I'm not saying bad. I feel bad for the family, but you can't have it both ways. You know, you don't comply with the cops, nothing bad happens. There,
Minnesota's is that you said Minnesota?
Yeah, that was in
Yeah, I
Minnesota.
figured Minnesota's stupid. It just
Yeah.
is.
Well, it's just tough to be a cop there, and they're finally seeing a lot more support than they've ever seen, and there's a lot of people that are behind that in Minnesota, and that's great. And we're starting to see it from the top down, from the governor down on that, and they need to do a better job. We all need to do a better job of supporting our police or fire, whatever it is. We can all do a better job of
Agreed.
that, and that standing up when wrongs happen. So it works out really good.
All right, let's move on to something a little lighter. RLCCC Night for the Kids. I have that written down, but first, what is RLCCC? What's that stand for?
That is our Rice Lake Celebrity Charity Classic.
Got
That is
it.
a golf event, and now we've added a new event this year, Night for the Kids. We have Alex Green coming. He's a former Green Bay Packer.
I think I have
And
something for this. There we go.
Yes, that is our thing. Next Tuesday, a week from today, 6 p.m. at the Rice Lake High School Auditorium. It's Night for the Kids. It's free to attend. It's empowering people to understand their own greatness, turning pressures into opportunities for our kids. It is, I would say like fifth grade through high school, and then it's for adults too. I think our adults can hear this message too. The steps he took to change his behavior, to make himself great. He talks about that. He's really cool, really good motivational speaker. We're bringing him in. He's golfing with us in our celebrity golf event on Thursday. And so we asked him to come in and do our Tuesday night event. So Alex will be here.
Awesome.
And it's pretty neat. So it's RLCC4, the number 4, thekids.com is where you can get that. I got the whole flyer right here. You can pick up Amundsen's Appliance, Dairy State Bank, Mosaic Telecom. You can pick up free passes to this event. You get a wristband if you stop there and grab one of them. Really, really neat event. We hope to fill the auditorium. And we have sponsors, so it's free to go in. But all the money that we raise, our sponsors, Dairy State Bank, Link Ford, Foster Outriders, they've sponsored this event. All of this money is part of our 3-day event raising money for Rice Lake youth organizations in the community. We raised about $100,000 to give back to the community during these 3 days. Yeah, so this is a big event. I chair this event or this organization. I've been part of it at the beginning for 10 years. This is our 10th year. We've given back $1 million to the Rice Lake community. But it takes a lot to put these on. We have our big three, which is the Boys and Girls Club, the Benjamin House, and the Kinship Organization. Then we give to about 25 other organizations, smaller grants like the library and youth sports and Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and you name it. We've given some sort of money to them for age groups. So it'll be great. So
that a reminder that is next. Do you have that flyer up on your Barron County Sheriff's
yes,
Facebook page?
There's a Facebook page.
Okay.
And they have that. Go to our Facebook page. You can register right there. You don't have to stop at one of those 3 places, but we want to thank those sponsors for coming. Everything, all this takes money, and our sponsors are businesses. So if you see a business that sponsors something, please go there and either thank them, buy something from them. Right. I mean, we do this when we do this winter golf thing. I mean, there's a lot of sponsors. Those people they do it because they believe in the community and they believe in the cause. And so there's a pretty neat cause here. It's for Rice Lake area youth, and the Booster Club. I serve on a lot of these boards of these organizations, and it's just a cool event. This is, like I said, we put $1 million back in the community from our sponsors and raising money at these events. So
that's incredible.
Yeah. So
I have one more thing I want to ask you about. Also, well, cops and robbers are donut dash, but we have a question here. I don't want to miss that. Sorry, River. In Wisconsin, during a traffic stop, do passengers have to provide ID?
If we have a probable cause for a citation, you have to. So yes, you should comply with that. There's no reason why you don't comply with during a traffic stop. But if they are issuing you a seatbelt citation, if they're issuing you some sort of citation for something, open container, you have to provide your driver's license. The driver has to provide it. You're given it. Having a driver's license in Wisconsin is a privilege, not a right. It's a privilege, and that privilege can be taken away from you. So, yes, provide your ID.
So hold on, let me try to understand that right. So if Jerusha and I, so I'm driving, Jerusha's next to me, I get pulled over. Of course, I'd show my license and registration because, duh. But at that point, does Jerusha have to show? Because I haven't been issued anything yet. Right.
No, I don't.
Does a cop typically ask? Because literally, I've never had a speeding ticket in my life, so I don't know what it's like.
We normally ID because maybe you're, but if we believe you're underage drinking. But if it's Jerusha, no, I don't think she has to. I mean, there's no probable cause to, unless you're in violation.
But now, if he issues me a ticket, I mean, at what point now does it okay? Now I need to see your ID, Jerusha.
It depends. There's a lot.
I suppose there's a lot of variables.
It's a lot of variables. There's a ton of variables in a question like that.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, River. We couldn't really answer it.
Yes and no. I mean,
there you go. You know who you sound like?
A politician.
You sound. Yes and no.
I don't know.
You sound like Dirk Miller. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be sunny or it's going to be rain. I don't know. It's just going to be whatever. I'm kidding, Dirk.
It's probably going to storm tonight. Dirk's going to be on our case. Yeah.
Cops and Robbers Donut Dash.
Yes.
I have a picture of some shirts. Explain this. Don't worry, Cops and Robbers. Happy. What is it? Don't worry. Be happy.
Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy.
Cops and Robbers. I get it now.
You get it? Donut. It's our Donut Dash. And a cool T-shirt this year. All of our patches and our badges from all of the departments in Barron County with our Law Enforcement Foundation logo.
Oh, I should have blown that up. Sorry, it's hard to see all those logos, but
I have it too. But
so where are these shirts and what are they for? I don't know what this is for. I mean, I know what it's for, but what is this?
That's for our race in July at the fair, the Barron County Fair. We have a race on Saturday morning of the fair, and all the money goes to our Shop with the Cop program. So we want to raise a bunch of money so you can race, walk a 5K around the lake and come back to the fairgrounds. You get a free pass to the fair. You get donuts at the 1.5 mile mark. You get donuts at the end of the race, and you get a really cool T-shirt. So you can just buy the T-shirt this year on our web store with Northwoods Promotions. There are T-shirt design people out of Rice Lake this year. You can just buy the T-shirt if you don't want to race, or you can pay, I think it's $20 for the T-shirt, $27 for the race, and you get donuts in the race and donuts in the middle and a really cool shirt. So that's on our Facebook page also, on our website, barronsheriff.org. You can go to our barronsheriff.org. You can see our jail roster. You can see all the information that we ever want to share with you on our webpage, barronsheriff.org. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Dirk's going to get his ordered tomorrow. And you have time to get them ordered. We want them in by, I think it's the 30th of June. So we'll talk more about that as the weeks go on here. But our cool shirts design are out, so get it.
All right. Yeah, and I'll probably order one too. Dirk, if you want to let us know what the weather is going to be. What do you have coming up this week, Fitzy?
It's Aquafest, so we'll have we have a safe ride program for Aquafest this week. I should mention that we wrote a grant with the Aquafest committee and the Rice Lake Police Department. So we've got a grant, so you can get picked up at your house, drop back off at your house, come to the Aquafest events, and you can go with 25 miles of Rice Lake, which is a long ways, but they have safe rides set up. So call, look on the Rice Lake Aquafest page. It's the 60th year of Aquafest, so there's lots of great music. Craig Morgan. I can't remember all the bands now. I can't remember them all. Some really good bands.
When is this?
This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Friday, Saturday.
There's an Aquafest parade on Sunday. So obviously, I was at the Rice Lake PD before I became sheriff, so I've been to all these Aquafests. It's a great time. Come out, but just be safe. We're asking. So we have safe rides. There's no reason to have drinking and driving. This weekend we have a safe ride program.
So it must be a fee. I mean, 25 miles. What?
It's free. We wrote a grant, and it's free. I mean, obviously you should pay something to the driver.
Well, yeah, give a tip.
Right, give them a tip. And
I'm not kidding. Spooner to Rice Lake. That's almost 25 miles. It should be right. I would just say she's probably technically 30. Nuts. Maybe I'll just go to Serona and have them pick me up there.
Run me into town for free, get some groceries, and drive back. Can you drop me off at Marketplace?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Where we get our donuts.
Dirk says, warm and humid today. Yeah, it's getting hot. Line
It
of
is.
showers and thunderstorms later in the afternoon and evening. I thought I heard about that. Some storms could be strong and severe. Main threat, large hail and damaging wind. Really?
Yeah.
Highs upper 70s to lower 80s. Wow, okay, yeah. So it's going to be hot, a little humidity. But, yeah, keep an eye on the weather this afternoon. It could sounds like a passing severe storm with potential hail. Looking forward, mild tomorrow with a chance of afternoon pop-up shower. Of course, there's a chance of shower. And storms, high in the low to mid-70s, drying out for the rest of the week. Nice. Turning cooler. Oh, nice. Highs in the upper 60s, low 70s. And finally, the weekend is looking cool under lots of sunshine. All right.
Yeah. There
So
you go,
this
Dirk.
is your Thursday, all your stuff, Fitzy, that you just, or the Aquafest. This is a perfect.
Perfect weather. So make a plan right now to go to Aquafest and make your safe rides and have a lot of fun and support the businesses that put on Aquafest. It takes a lot of money to bring these bands to town, and we want to continue to support these efforts. And the food stands. There's a car show on Saturday, Back to Blue car show that Andy Jondro from Rissick PD puts on, and he donates that money to different organizations that support law enforcement.
I love this stuff. I love Northwest Wisconsin.
Yeah, I do too.
It's always like we're doing this, but we're giving the money to someone else.
There's
Right.
a rodeo next weekend. There's a Barron County Pro Rodeo we're in charge of. So lots of stuff going on. There's no reason to sit at home and you're gonna have to leave the house, Ben.
I'm going to have to tomorrow morning. So I have to take a tour of the jail.
Okay.
Now, I've been to the jail lots of times. When my dad was the sheriff, I've been there many times. But I have to take a tour of it as a board supervisor. It's mandatory, and I can't remember if they said it's either yearly or it's every 2 years. Now, I was going to ask you, does Barron do it as well? And is that like a state law or just a county policy or what?
It must be a state law. I believe it is a state law, and our law enforcement committee does it in June. So we don't take our whole county board through it. Now, we just did a tour of our county board. All the new county board members can take a tour of it, but our law enforcement committee signs off on an inspection of the jail, if you want to call it that. They make sure the jail is in proper working order. So we show them the details of the jail every June. Correct.
Interesting. Well, it's just you're supposed to schedule it yourself, I found out. So I called another board supervisor and I said, hey, you want to go? So two of us are going to go there tomorrow morning and take a tour of the jail. But I was just wondering, I have no problem doing it. Fine, great. But I was just wondering why. In terms of why is it mandatory that a board supervisor takes a tour of the jail? I don't think we are mandatory to take a tour of the, ADRC building or something. I mean, just why? I'm just curious.
I don't know
why.
There's a state statute for it, I'm sure, in our jail thing, and I don't know why. I follow the state statutes.
Follow. That does sound like you. When in doubt, follow the law.
So Dirk's going to keep the eye on the weather for us. He'll
Thank you,
share
Dirk.
anything on his Facebook page. Just keep an eye on the weather. We're going to go out. We have a shoot today, so we'll be out shooting. That's training. We're not just going to go out shooting. We're going to go out shooting today. We have training today, so we'll be out at the range. So I'm going to go out right after this so I don't get wet because I melt in the rain. So no. And so, big week, lots of stuff going on. It's summer, and we're happy. Thanks to everybody that supported the Dairy Breakfast, Camerama. We'll see everybody at Aquafest, and then the Pro Rodeos next week. Again, we'll hope to see everybody Tuesday night, a week from today. We'll talk about it next week again at Alex Green, because you'll be able to come to the door unless it's sold out. So get your wristband now if you need one. So all of those locations at Amundsen's Appliance, Mosaic Telecom, and who else I'd say? Dairy State Bank.
Awesome. Thanks, Fitzy.
Thank you.
For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm DrydenWire founder Ben Dryden, and you've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today, see what they can do for you. Number's right there on the screen. A reminder, I will see all of you this Thursday morning at 8:30 right here on our Facebook page, when my guest will be Republican candidate for the 75th Assembly District, Neil Klein. And actually, we have another show, once again, on Friday morning at 8:30, when I'll be chatting with newly elected Mayor of Shell Lake, Rowie Hansberger. But for Fitzy and I, we'll see you right back here next week for another exciting episode of Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.